Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the lecture number 6 of the control system series. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali and I am instructor for this course. So today is our first part of the sixth lecture series. And in today's class we are going towards to discuss about electromechanical system. So before going into that, let's discuss what we have previously studied in this course. In this previous class of system series, I have discussed with you about the working or operation of mechanical system, and we saw about two types of mechanical system. One was translational and the second one was rotational, and we discovered their and discussed their transfer functions as well as a few of the numericals as well. I have tried to solve you two or three different numericals that will be helping you in your electromechanical systems as well. And before this, I have already discussed about electrical systems in very much detail because electrical is your field, and that is why I have done more. I have invested more time in electrical system as compared to mechanical system, but I've also given you a flavor of mechanical system as well because it will be needed in your practical field and as well as in your this course of control system. And you will see that how we merge the electrical phenomena and the mechanical phenomena in the same way in today's class of electromechanical system. So in the previous class of lecture number 5, we actually discussed about the rotational mechanical system in very much detail, and we also saw their transfer functions, and we also solved a few numericals which involves gear and which didn't involve a gear. So we consider the lossless gear system, and the reason because of which we considered it lossless is that you have a flavor of the electrical transformer that we discussed in electrical systems in previous semesters as well. So, keeping that in mind, we are going towards a very much interesting topic, and this topic is known as electromechanical system. That how you can model electromechanical system, which a system which involves some electrical portion and some mechanical portion, and how do you join them to form electromechanical system. And if you the first step is to understand basically electromechanical system, the second step would be to find a transfer function, that how you can find your transfer function, because I have already told you in the previous classes that electromechanical system is one of its kind. You give input, let's say in electrical form, and you take output from in a form of mechanical power or mechanical output. So your input is electrical and your output is you provide your input to a system, and the output of the system might be mechanical. Or you can do the reverse also, you provide a mechanical input to a system and it will give you a electrical output. So this is a basic difference between this electromechanical system and the previous systems that we have studied. You see, this is kind of a motor. When you give electrical input and you take the mechanical output, electrical input and mechanical output, this is basically your motor. And when you provide mechanical input and you take electrical output, that is basically generator. So you see, this is a generator. When you give mechanical input or mechanical energy to a system and it converts the energy into electrical energy, that is basically a generator. And if you give an electrical input to a device or a system and it gives you a mechanical output, it is basically a motor. So in today's class we will also look about a DC motor and how does you calculate their different functions, why they load, but the important target is to achieve the transfer function of a given motor. So how can you find a transfer function of any machine or any device or any system that involves electrical and mechanical quantities. So we are going towards that topic, and we will learn about how you can make a model, mathematical model of electromechanical system. So starting with a very common example that all of the students learn in their this course of control series is basically the DC motor example. So you have given a system, and you have given a torque, speed torque curve of the system in figure. I've also shown you, this is your speed torque curve, you can see that, and this is your system. This is your system, and you have to find the transfer function, that is theta L of S divided by EA of S. Means you are giving the input in the form of voltage, and you are taking the output in a form of this rotation of this theta L. And now you see that this system involves electrical and rotational mechanical. You see that this is your electrical system from here to here, and this is again your mechanical system from here, and you will see that it involves gear as well. This is your mechanical system, but the rotational mechanical system. So, and this is the another diagram of the speed torque curve you are given with. So using these different tools, you will solve this electromechanical system. So first, the first and very more first step is basically, I've already discussed with you the rotational mechanical system, that we have to find the equivalent, or equivalent actually, J and equivalent D and equivalent K, etc. So the first step we did is basically we have to find the initial, or you can say equivalent J. So we have found that equivalent J by using the formula that we already discussed, JA plus JL N1 by N2 whole square. So the value of will be given on the diagram. You can see that the values are given in the diagram as well. This is JA, this is JL, this is N1, and this is N2, and you just have to put the values of these things, and you find the value of this equivalent J. Similarly, you found the value of equivalent D, this is damper, and the equivalent damper turned out to be 10. Now you know that this is the total maximum torque, that is at zero speed. This is basically known as T stall. You already learned about DC motor, and in DC motor there was a term basically known as stall torque. So this is basically that torque which is maximum torque at zero speed. And similarly, you have a load of 50. Similarly, you have the EA, that is provided input is basically of 100. So these are basically your electrical terminologies. Now we are going towards electrical terminologies, and we are going to model the electrical systems. The electrical constraints are basically given by KT divided by RA. So this was the first part, that was rotational mechanical system, where you solved this system and you derived their equivalent components. Now coming towards the electrical system, from here we will have to solve electrical system, and we have to find some constraints, electrical constraints, before merging both of these. The first constraint will be KT divided by RA, that is the initial resistance, that is the armature resistance, and the KB. These are some constants, that back effect, EMF back effect constant, etc. So the major thing you will be needing here will be this curve. Actually, you know that maximum torque at which the speed is equal to 0 is basically T stall, and the T stall value from the graph you can see that it is 500, because at this point the torque is maximum and the speed is 0. Similarly, the angular frequency of the load is 50. It is given that you can see that this point, it is also given, and the EA value is given as 100. All the things are given to you in the graph. You just have to find the value from the graph. Now you have to divide these things. The formula for this is I have assumed that you have already learned about the speed torque characteristics of a DC motor in uh, 2 or 3 semesters prior to this semester, so there will be no need to revisiting that. I presume that you have learned about that. So the ratio between T stall and the EA should give you the value of KT divided by RA. This will be the same. So if you divide the T stall that was 500 and the EA that is 100, you get the value of 5. So it means that KT divided by RA is equal to 5. So this is your first equation. Similarly, the second equation was the back EMF constant is equal to the initial voltage that is applied divided by the load. So initial voltage applied about EA was 50 and the load was sorry the was the initial voltage applied was 100, and the load that you provided by this speed torque curve, you can see that this is basically this angular speed of load actually is basically 50. So you divide this, you get the value of 2. So these are the two equations that you will be needing for this thing. Now you have to include all of these equations into one equation, and this that one equation will be, I haven't mentioned that equation. I will mention that equation here in the figure. So guys, here is the complete derivation for the transfer function. This is from your book chapter number 2, page number 80. This is the a normalized book which I have mentioned you in the first lecture actually. So in the figure 3.2.35a, this figure basically actually you can see that this is the same figure as we have discussed. We have taken out the electrical component of the diagram, and you can see in this diagram a magnetic field is developed by the stationary magnets at or a stationary electromagnet, which is basically called the fixed field. And after you apply some mathematics over here, you can derive the equation. This is the back EMF equation, and this is minus the total the current carrying armature is rotating in the magnetic field, and it is proportional to the speed. So basically this is known as the equation, and this VB is actually the back EMF, and this KB is the constant proportionality of the back EMF constant, and this d phi of m divided by dt minus this thing is the angular velocity of the motor. So if you take the Laplace of this equation, this turns out to be this equation. There is nothing different, but instead of t you are getting s, and instead of d by dt you are getting s actually. So this is the first equation, and this is the another equation, that is because of the torque developed by the motor, and you know that this is proportional to the armature current. So you can also get this equation. The total this Tm will be the torque developed by the motor, and this Kf will be the constant of proportionality, and this is known as the torque constant. This is known as this K of F is basically is known as torque constant, and this depends upon the armature current. Basically, you know that the more armature current you provide, the more torque will be generated. So you get the final equation of this thing. Basically, this is your equation, and to find the transfer function of the motor, we substitute these two equations, 2.145 and 2.148 in 2.146. That is basically this equation. So dear students, I have done the derivation. I have taken the snapshots of the derivation of from the book, and the first equation that starts from is basically the back EMF equation for that motor actually. So you can see that this is the equation. The first equation, that is 2.144, is the first equation of back EMF, and in the second equation we have just converted the first equation into the S domain, and after that we have applied the KVL on the motor. This you can see in the previous diagram, 2.35a actually. There is a common motor. This motor is connected to a resistor and a inductor, and there are some voltage drop that will be across that because of that back EMF voltage. So the if you apply KVL, you get the third equation, that is 2.146. That is voltage rise, that is EA is equal to sum of all the voltage drops. So there are basically three voltage drops in that diagram. So this equation, that 2.146, is actually the KVL equation, and the next equation is 2.147. This is basically the relation between the current Ia with the torque T. So if you increase the current, the torque will be increased, and this K is basically the constant, torque constant. I hope that you have learned about this equation. T is equal to Ki, because T is proportional to I, and if you replace the sign of proportionality is equal to, you get a constant K. So this equation arrives from that, that is T is equal to Ki, and this is basically the relation between the current and the torque.
So if you rearrange that 2.147, you get this 2.148. You are evaluating IA in terms of TM. Similarly, in the third step, you are actually doing what you are doing is you are substituting the values of IA into the verb equation that was 2.145. So 1.146 actually. So if you put the value of IA in that equation, you get this equation 2.149 actually. And similarly, this the next equation is that is 2.150. This is the mechanical equation for the system, because you see that there is one torque, and this one torque will be equal to sum of all the other forces that are in the opposite direction. So you see that this is the force due to this js square because of the inertia, and this there is d of m, and you cannot see this k that spring constant, because in the figure you can see that there is no k involved. So if you do not have any k, there is no need to put the k in the equation, but if you do have the value of k, you can put it in 2.150. And in the third step, that is 2.151, you are actually putting the values of all these equations into the above equation.
You have applied the KVL over here. You can see that this is basically the whole equation. When you substitute this 2.14, 2.15 and 2.148 in 2.146, actually you get this equation 2.149. And you know that you have to obtain a Tm of s in terms of phi m of s. If you want to, if you have to separate the input and output variables to obtain a transfer function that is given. So after solving this whole equation, you get this equation to 0.153. This is the final equation that you get, phi of m divided by E A of s and kf RA JM. This JM is nothing but, I have already solved it for you in the slides. You can see over there. You can see that I've already solved this thing for you. This is your uh, sorry, this thing is your j of m. You have to actually put the values and have to solve these things to find this that j of m. Similarly, you have to find d of m, and these are constants given to you already. These are all constants. So in the last step, you just have to actually put the variables equations into this equation. So the value of, you said, see in the numerator, the value of kf turns out to be 5. We have already solved that. And jm is basically 12. You saw that jm basically is 12 in this equation. You see that jm is 12. So this turns out to be 5 by 12. Similarly, in the denominator, you have to put the value of jm, that was 12, 1 divided s plus 1 by 12, and dm turns out to be 10. We have already solved that, 10, and 5 cross 2, because this kb by this kf by r is basically, you have solved this equation and it turns out to be 5 cross 2. So after you solve this equation, you get this term. This is your final equation for the that thing. And but if you want to find the value of phi l, actually, because this was the your that equation of equivalent, phi of m, this was phi of m, but the question has asked you to find the value of phi l by e of s. So you have to find something that is equivalent. If you want to convert this phi m to phi l, you just have to multiply it with a Gay ratio of n1 by n2, that is 1 by 1 by 10. So after you multiply this 0.147 into 1 by 10, you get 0.047. So keep in mind that you are actually putting the value of equivalent on this side. So this side will also be providing you the equivalent, but it is the question that he has asked you, the examiner or the book has asked you, that you have to find not the equivalent but the actual torque of the second hand side. So you have to multiply it again with the turn ratio, that is 1 by 10. So if you multiply this thing with 1 over 10, you get 0.04 instead of 0.4. So you this is the final equation turns out to be this thing, that is 0.04 divided by s into 1 point s into s plus 1.16. This is your final equation, guys, and this is your transfer function in which the input is basically the input voltage and the output is basically the torque on the right hand side of the system. You see that this is your this was your system. So input is basically providing on the left hand side and you are getting the output on the right hand side, and it turns out to be 0.04 divided by s into s plus 1.667. So this was your equations for the electromechanical system. I hope that you revise this and you practice this. This book is also available. You can get it from the portal as well. I have already given the link of the book in the portal, so you can actually practice this derivation as well. But if you do not want to practice, you just have to learn this equation, that how this comes out. And in the future, you will sing. Suggest you, or I recommend you to do a practice of this derivation for at least one time. It is nothing difficult. This is all the things that you have already learned in the course of AC circuit analysis, or in your course of machines actually, where you learned about the derivations of back EMF and the armature current and the armature resistance, etc. And this equation, I will paste this equation for you specially because I know that this is not clear here. So I will be pasting this equation in the notes as well, in the slides as well. You don't have to worry about that. I will provide in those slides. Look at the slides, and this is the main equation of the system. This involves basically the KVL. So you see that there is minus sign. All the other terms will be on the other side will be plus actually. So this is the main equation, and after you find the different equations, you will actually put this 2.15 and 2.18 into this equation, 2.16. So and you will derive further. This is your mechanical system as well. You have applied the same rule of KVL, that the total torque will be equal to the sum of all other torques. So the equivalent will be 0. The same thing you have applied over here in 2.16 as well, but that was in electrical and this is mechanical. And after you have got these two equations, you just have to substitute it, and you got this equation in which there is electrical portion as well. You can see that this is the electrical portion, this thing, and this EA, and the other things are basically, this thing is basically mechanical portion. So you have basically merged these two equations, and after you solve these two equations, you get the final equation, which will be involving some electrical components. You see that these are basically electrical components, this EA, this RA, this KA, KB, R, etc., and all the other things, that JM, DM, FIM, this will be in mechanical term. So I hope that you will be you have learned a lot in this lecture, and I hope to see you in the class. If you have any questions regarding that, do not hesitate to ask that in class. I hope to I look forward to have your good questions and have a good discussion. This was the first part, and in this class, in this part actually, we have concluded the physical modeling of three systems. Basically, I'm going to revise it for you as well. Till now we have studied about the electrical system separately as well, independently, and in that electrical system we have revised the mesh analysis and the nodal analysis, and both for the first order circuits and second order circuits. Similarly, in node analysis we also perform some first order circuits and some second order circuits. Similarly, if we go for the mechanical, we have done two things actually. We have done for translational motion and one for rotational motion, and similarly we have applied a single equation or two equations. Similarly, in rotational we have applied a single equation and a rotational equation, in which there were many systems, and you have to basically take the equivalent of that system. And in today's class we have concluded off with the electromechanical system, in which we have merged all these phenomena in one part, in one question actually, that is the DC motor. And that DC motor basically, I'll tell you now, this DC motor is basically this thing, which is basically providing you some output of mechanical by taking some input as a voltage, that is electrical quantity. So this was all about the physical modeling of any electromechanical system, and with this I hope that you are now able to do your own physical modeling of any electrical system or any mechanical system or any electromechanical system. So let's in the next class we will be discussing much about different representations of this control system properties as well. I look forward to have your good questions. I see you in the class. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.